getting into Code S. He wants this win, and we're jumping into the game right now, guys. This is the GSL Code A with Carlo and Wolf, and we have Flash versus Sola coming up.
The man himself in the red to the bottom left. This guy is perhaps the most famous StarCraft player of all time. He is...
KT Flash.
There's a shot of him making sure his mouse pad is set. He's known for his using a ruler to get his settings put correctly. And his opponent.
Samsung Sola.
Love it, jumpy there on the intro.
Yeah, Street Fighter Voice is all excited about this guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him. Street Fighter Voice is, you know, it's always getting excited about new players. This is the first time saying Sola, you know, he's a little bit nervous about it. He's never done it before.
Yeah, you don't know if you pronounce it correctly, and you want to make a good impression, especially for the player. The player's probably going to watch the VOD later, so if you kind of, you know, if you blew it, it's just like, yeah, the guy's going to hate me forever.
And you know, the thing is, if you're Street Fighter Voice, the first time you say that is going to be how you say it forever.
Yeah.
So if you mess it up the first time, it's just going to be messed up for the rest of the time that guy ever plays. Look at this. Flash has plans of forward barracksing, it looks like. No second SCV sent, though, so he could just be going for an eBay block. That starts to look more likely here. Yeah. Looks like he's just going to try to eBay block.
And eBay blocks are so unbelievably annoying. It's really... it can throw a Protoss player completely off, and also a Zerg. But this time he's not able to achieve it. The hatch is already being produced.
That's so annoying for Flash. He loses a lot of mining. When you send one of your first initial SCVs out, that's almost 10% mining efficiency lost.
Goes for a CC first here, so he's fine.
Yep. He has a scouting information now as well, and this is going to force there to be a pool before a third hatchery because Flash can see. He goes gas, in fact, though Sola does before pool. This is something he's even shown to Flash.
Very late. Yeah, but that's really cool. So he goes very late for the pull, and he adds the gas first, so he will have the option of a faster speed. He has shown it to Flash, so Flash knows, okay, I can't be too greedy here. If he goes for just a quick attack and maybe even tries to just Baneling bust me or anything like that, or Roach Baneling me. Something aggressive to start the game because he's not confident and wants to just get a quick first win under his belt. Then, yeah, Flash can't play too greedy here. He has to be a little bit careful about how he approaches this.
Yeah, that's very true. And Flash is going to be happy with the information he has here, though. He was able to see the hatch first and the gas. Normally, when you want to go see that gas, if you scout at a normal timing, the Queen will deny you. You're not going to be able to get in there and see it, especially on a 4-player map. So now he knows, okay, can't play too greedy. Takes his gas pretty quick, only one of them though, so you can transition into a third command center relatively quickly, just not quite as quick as you would have liked to. Look at that, God, he's going for a fast lair at 4 minutes here.
Before speed, he invests the first 100 gas right into the lair tech, and this is going to be a very, very interesting game, Wolf. He needs to make sure that Flash doesn't get any scouting information. We have him with the second gas now as well, so this is going to be pretty cool. I'm really interested to see what exactly he's going to do with it. There are a lot of options of what he could do right now. We have seen aggression with Roaches with the forward Nidus, which is pretty unlikely. We don't even have a Roach warrant for him just yet, so it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. We don't see gas at the natural yet, so he might go into a fast Mutalisk build, but doesn't have to necessarily. I'm really interested to see what exactly he decides to do.
Yeah, I am as well. I mean, he could still Nidus, but he hasn't started any Lings, for example, either.
And he doesn't have a lot of Overlords in position that could really go for scouts.
Not if he wants,
yeah, so he goes for the Spire, and will therefore soon take the gas at his natural too. He needs the extra gas if he wants to go into Spire. And this is such a risky build. He really gambles here. Because if Flash suddenly is going to be aggressive on a map like this, then he will be in a lot of trouble. He doesn't have a lot that he can use to defend, but Flash even goes into a third command center right now. So for Sola, this is brilliant. This is exactly how he envisioned this would play out.
You're so right. There's no additional barracks production. Right now, he only has 2 Marines. He's going to have a third one, so with no additional barracks production, he's going to have very few Marines, and Flash may even try to go mech after this. And if that's the case, he's not going to have really any anti-air. If he has only the 4 Marines, they're not going to be able to deal with the first wave of Velas. This is an all-in, basically, and the only time I've ever seen this build in professional play was actually by Lenok in Iron Squid. That's the only time I can think of somebody going for a Mutalisk rush quite like this.
I think we had it a couple of times in a GSL, but that was ages ago, like maybe a year ago. That was, yeah, these days it's not really common. I love that he's hiding his Spire. This lends a nice touch to it, so it's something that we haven't seen in a long, long time. But with how he defends his wall too, makes sure that the Hellions don't get in, it's very difficult for Flash to see what's coming. And I don't think that Flash actually dropped the scan. And even if he does, is he really going to see the Spire? No, he won't.
He's only seen the Roach Warren, in fact. Right now with his Hellions, he can see the Roach Warren. That's part of the wall, so he doesn't have any idea this is coming.
The usual timing for Mutalisks to arrive at your opponent's base is roughly at 11 minutes, but look at the timer here. We have 7:50 when the Mutalisks are about to pop out. He needs to hide them, or it would be the best thing for him to do, but he just shows them to his opponent, and I'm a little bit surprised by this.
Yeah, this gives time for Flash to get the turrets up and also to position his Marines to make sure they're in the right spot.
So Flash has the engineering bay, and he goes for the turrets. I'm really surprised of how Sola starts with those Mutalisks. He still will be able to do some damage. He forces Flash to build these turrets. He kills SCVs here, but this could have been even more effective.
Yeah, now that the turret's up, he can kill a few more SCVs passing it out.
He killed 8, so it's not like this is wasted. He puts a lot of pressure on Flash, he has the map control, but just think about what would have happened if he just uses those Mutalisks, flies to the bottom right first,
and there's no turrets when he gets there.
Exactly, arrives in the main base with no turrets. He can chase Flash around for an eternity.
He can kill the Marines if they fight, you know, this is scary. Flash then has to try to keep his Marines all together, and if the production facilities get camped, he might just lose the game.
Now he's trying to find sweet spots here. Some spots that are not covered by the missile turrets. As mentioned earlier, with the Mutalisks now on the map this early, he has a lot of map control, which he uses to get his third chase. But he's he's following this up now with Roaches. And this is going to be not as effective as he hoped for if Flash is able to get his siege mode up in time. He already started it, he has the first tank out in the game, so this might really backfire for Sola.
Yeah.
It's still dangerous.
It's dangerous, and it's also going to be pretty good defensively, but I don't think that's Sola's plan, what he wants to do with these Roaches. He doesn't have a lot of attacking units out just yet, so he needs to have some Roaches edge. And nobody's making so many now with the +1 and the Roach speed, though. It looks like he wants to go into perhaps even a timing attack.
The big problem for Sola really is that he is now at 44 harvesters against 41. Yes, of course, with the lava mechanics kicking in, he can at some point just build a huge amount of harvesters. But with the third CC for Flash, Flash is taking the harvester lead, he has the mules, so Sola has to do damage. If he doesn't do damage, he will fall behind significantly. And right now, siege mode is going to be done. So Roaches are not going to be the answer if Flash positions the siege tanks well and guards them against the Mutalisks.
Yeah, you should be able to, if he wants to, even put siege tanks on the high ground to defend. There's a great high ground spot for the tanks. He has them on the low ground next to the bunker, which I understand in this situation because the mutas. And oh no, the mutas fly to Marines! He loses almost all of his mutas! All but 2 die there! Oh, you guys didn't see the carnage, but I did, and it gave me chills.
And now we have 2 tanks out. The third tank will be ready in time. He sees the roaches. He sees everything. Flash has the information that he needs to win this game, to decide it in his favor. He's going to lift his supply depots. 3 siege tanks and the Marines. Good luck, Sola.
Yeah, Sola doesn't even try it.
Yeah, gets a bloody nose and retreats.
And Flash, he doesn't even have to raise his depots. I mean, he should if the Roaches commit, but he didn't even have to because he knew those Roaches were just they were gonna turn tail and run.
Sola right now, this push has actually looked a little bit like a dog with tunnel vision chasing down a squirrel, and the squirrel running up a tree, and the dog just bumping into it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good analogy, I feel.
That actually happened to my dog.
That has happened to my dogs before. It was actually
really, really silly.
Yeah. My dogs lip chase squirrels, and they run into those trees.
And I swear to God, the squirrel stopped when he was 2 meters up the tree,
just
turned
looks
around
at it
and laughed.
Yeah.
It actually laughed.
Well, I mean,
Flash didn't.
Flash is not laughing because this game is not over yet, but he's got a grin in his mind somewhere because now he knows, okay, your third base is late. I know what you've done here with your Mutalisks. You also lost all your Mutalisks, so you don't really have map control except with the Roaches, so I can just sit back, get my production up. I'm at 2 upgrades coming out.
Exactly, the upgrades.
Yeah.
If you're Flash, you feel happy.
Yeah,
right now you feel happy. Sola is doing what I pointed out earlier. He's now going with the lava mechanics into this massive amount of drones because he needs to catch up. He was so far behind in the harvester count. He's now getting ahead, but with the third command center being in position, the increased SCV production that we had, and now the scan to kill the Roach, Flash is in a great spot. early upgrades, and even look at the timing here for the link speed. You didn't need it so far, but a very late link speed at 14 minutes. This is not what you usually have. At this point, Sola thought the game would already be over.
Yep, he was hoping for that. And since the map is so large, this is Planet S, he's got other opportunities to try to make this game go longer. That one roach is in a great spot to see the Hellion, so he will be able to clean this up. But the Hellion knows, okay, at least you have this third base. Now, Flash has the right composition to fight this. If you look at the supply, it's like, well, Sola's still ahead in supply, but yeah, he's got the wrong supply, though. Against Marine Tank, roaches are about the worst thing you can have.
Sola is now completely going to freestyle this. He expected the game to be over at this point. He was like, okay, well, my Mutalisks are going to do damage. Maybe I can even pressure you this much that you are already completely down for the count. But now the Roach pull off. That has to take you down. And that didn't happen. The Mutalisks were lost. They couldn't snipe the siege tanks anymore. The defense for Flash was good. He never slipped with his macro. He wasn't too impressed by what Sola did with the Mutalisk because he scouted it and could prepare. So now we have Sola just going into a massive amount of infestors.
Yep.
And trying to find an angle and a grip on this game. But Flash, he sees everything. He sees the fourth base. He scouted that already. He has everything that he needs, and he can just push out with 2-2. He can even wait and take it to a very late game scenario where he has 3-3 and the medevac coverage.
I mean, I can't even describe how awkward you feel as a Zerg player with 36 roaches just walking around doing nothing. That's so much money and so much supply. And also larva. And Flash is so ready to fight this. He stims though, and he's going to face some fungals.
Yeah, he needs to be careful that he doesn't overcommit here. The fungals are good. There are 11 infestors, something that we should not forget here. So Flash is in a great spot, but he hasn't won the game just yet.
The siege tanks are so critical here. They're obviously so good against the roaches, but also the infestors can't close the distance with this many siege tanks. Flash actually unsieges all of them though, and this gives Sola another opportunity. Goes for the fungals to infest the Terrans as well.
A lot of those infestors dead, but he saves them with a burrow. Here come those roaches. Another fungal is good, but the reinforcements for Flash are streaming in, and Sola is dropping rapidly in supply.
The upgrades for Flash are just too much for him. Roaches can never really fight against a Bioforce that's being healed. They don't have the real fast damage output that the Marines do. You know, roaches do a lot of damage per attack, but if you can't kill the target because you attack so slowly and the medevac heals so quickly, it just doesn't matter. And Sola is going to roll over and die here. He took a risk. He went for the mutas. They were scouted, and Flash is basically showing him how it's done now, and he's going to have to go in game number 2.
It wasn't even that he scouted the Mutalisks. He showed them. Sola showed them. And well, Flash takes the lead here. He takes the first game. He is able to claim victory on map number 1. And Sola, what is he going to do in game number 2 on Daybreak? We're going to find out. But still, hiding the Mutalisks. This was a key move, and he flew in with the first 2, even though he knew there were Hellions.
Yeah, that's always... I mean, it's a choice he made, I suppose, because he was looking at something else, or he wasn't very careful. He knew where the Hellions were. The Hellions had just been under his Overlord vision. He still flew the mutas over them, so... I guess he was expecting it was going to work regardless, or maybe he wasn't paying attention, but that mistake really cost him the early game. Then Flash was prepared with siege tanks for the roaches.
I really didn't expect that to happen. When I saw this early tech with the hidden spire, I mean, the hidden spire, you know, it's like you want to hide it, you want to surprise your opponent, and then just show the Mutalisk is like,
Yeah, it's like, well, that's really, really weird. It would be like if you had a ghost with your DTs and you EMP'd your DTs before you ran them in. It's like, alright, well, you know, I want you to see these before they come.
It's like I hide my spire, but I'm gonna show you the actual unit, and then because of how the map works, because of the distance, you will still be able to get the turrets out.
I mean, he was hiding in plain sight. It was a strategy of, hey, you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm going to show you anyways. I don't know. It's weird. It sounds weird for us to say this like in such a way, but I mean, it's just basic knowledge what happened as he showed his hidden tech.
So right now, Flash, he defended very well. He saw what was coming. He scouted, even though he didn't drop a scan. He didn't have to. He immediately reacted. Missile turrets, Marines, everything was there. He defended against the Mutalisks. He defended against the follow-up with the Roaches. Now he's in the lead. Daybreak is going to be the second map, a map that lends itself to very, very long Zerg versus Terran matches. And if he goes to a third game, then we have a kill on flats.
So I'm just looking in the chat, and Sola said he has some issues with his settings, so that might have affected that last game. He's just asking in chat. This is his first time playing in the GSL, and he's not actually sure the rules. He's a Kespa player. He's used to crazy, hardcore rules, where, you know, kind of everything is up to you, and if you make any mistakes with your settings, it's on you. Now he's saying in chat, he's not trying to say that the settings made it so he lost the last game. He's saying, can someone help me with my settings? I'm having some problems here, so he needs a little bit more time.
I actually would really like to know what exactly the issue is, because if there was a hotkey problem, I don't know, it didn't really look like anything was out of the ordinary, but if he had a problem in game number 1, it apparently...
Yeah, it is his hotkeys. Yeah.
Huh.
That's what the issue was. So he had some issues with his hotkeys, it looks like, in the game. So, I mean, flying your mute is usually not something... I mean, unless he had his hotkey for his mouse set wrong, maybe it affected the way he was thinking in the game, but... regardless, if you have your hotkeys wrong, it's going to affect you. That's just how the game works.
Yeah, it definitely will. And even if it... I'm just really trying to think of what exactly could have been completely wrong there. You know, the mutal list being shown is not a hotkey issue. This is a waypoint that you set.
Yeah, exactly. Unless his hotkey for mouse right-click is like something else.
Well, either way, situation as it is Flash having a lead here, and Sola now in a position where he will fix his hotkeys, and then we might see a different Zerg player here.
Yep, this is very true. So they're working on that right now. So let's talk about Daybreak a little bit. This is a very different map. It's still a 2-player map, but it's a little bit smaller. It's a map where you can take the third base a lot more comfortably as a Zerg player as well. It's not so far out there on the edge. I feel like that may have been one of the reasons why we saw Mutas, for example, on the last map, is because that third base is so far away, it's really hard to hold against Terran pressure there.
Well, Daybreak, as I said, is a map where you have usually very, very long games between the players, because it's very difficult to effectively rush. Yeah, there are certain times where what you can do, but usually it lends itself to games where we have long games, where players even tend to split the map. What I want to see is how Flash is playing this, because I was quite impressed of his macro and his micro as well in the last game, but especially his macro. He never really slipped up. There was never a point where you would have said, okay, Flash is being pressured here and he makes mistakes. The game is live, so let's just jump into game number 2, and let's